Hello and welcome back. It is me again, and today we are resuming our talk of general relativity. And oh, I hear the audio thing coming up soon. We're playing Lilith. We're talking about general relativity today. We are trying to go for Hush and Mega Satan today as well. So I will be needing to be a bit timely at the very least. This is scary. This is less scary. And again, we are discussing, general relativity again today, but today will be the more exciting stuff that is, well, honestly, a lot of general relativity is pretty exciting, I guess, but today we're talking about unproven theory in general relativity. I can't be starting this early. I can't be starting this sloppy, Liberty Cap. I can't be starting this sloppy enunciation this early into the run. It's gonna pose some problems for me, isn't it? Very interesting room down there that I can't access any of the buttons. Thanks. Thank you, game. Thank you very much. Ooh, don't like this speed or lack thereof. Cool. Very nice, and we must go collect the item. Neat. I will collect the item in 1 second. Well, maybe not a literal second. What even is a second anyway? Huh? That and more will be discussed today. Nice! Screw. Excellent. Spoonbender. Okay, this is pretty good. This is a pretty good start. And since we're going down the normal paths today, I don't need to worry so much. Hey, you stop that. About having a key. Yep, just sprinkle them a little bit. Sure, I'll take range, why not? So, the first thing I want to talk about, actually, before I do, let me give a very, very brief overview of general relativity. It has been 2 days, basically Einstein's big theory. I mean, one of his big theories, his first one was, special relativity, and this is general relativity. Ooh, I'll take common cold, I guess. Ew, I look gross. I look like a witch, a modern witch. A gross modern witch, not a pretty modern witch. Special relativity is Einstein's theories about how the speed of light is a universal constant, and basically as you approach that speed, I don't need to go over here, but I will. As you approach that speed, you experience time dilation and length contraction, and it's all very trippy and neat and not too hard to understand, I guess. Where is the secret room? Oh, it could be either. I'll try here first. I tried correctly. I tried so hard. Ooh. Big. Small. Well, not that small. Mildly small. It could have been mini mush, but it wasn't, was it? And then general relativity came next. General relativity is the idea that time and space are not separated ideas so much that they are... Oh, nice. Nice effect for this room. That they are related, they form one fabric that is space-time, and actually gravity in space-time is just the experience of the curvature of space-time. Gravity is not actually a force that is communicated through particles like most everything else. In fact, everything else, indeed. But instead, now I am tiny. Instead, gravity is just the curvature of space-time itself, and everywhere in a gravity, well, everywhere, regardless of gravity, always experiences free fall the same. It is called the equivalence principle in general relativity, that regardless of where you are or what celestial bodies you may be near, you will always experience gravity the same. Because you will always be in free fall. It will always feel to you like normal free fall. Again, that's just a very special effect of general relativity, and I have gone the wrong way. Great. I have a lot of bombs, though, which is real nice, but I wish I had a key. And that's probably the secret room down there, so I'll come back to you. Ooh, hello. So today we are discussing the unproven theory parts of general relativity, or not general relativity itself, but its consequences, if you will. And to start off, because this comes up in several other consequences... Oh, hey bud. I don't like you that much, but I'll take you. I am aware of the changes that were made to you, which are pretty neat, but still, I don't like you that much more, even still. The first thing I will talk about is singularities. So to understand what a singularity is in general relativity, every time I say general relativity, there's this temptation in me to say general revelation, like this is a Bible study topic or something, I don't know. So if I accidentally say that, just, like, keep that in mind that I don't mean it. I'm just crazy, I guess. I have too many things in my brain at once. That's the problem here. Actually, you can... Go get them. You can eat a few of these things. Oh, you'll just give me flies, won't you? I don't want to spend too long, but... Go get them. There. Oh, no. You do grow? No, you don't grow. I don't know anymore. Let's face the boss. So a singularity is not nearly as daunting as it sounds. I mean, the word has come up when talking about like a possible apocalyptic scenario, when it comes to like a technological singularity and whatever, but in physics, it's not nearly as scary as it sounds. Health down, range down, everything else up, I will accept that. The term really just derives from math, in which a singularity is in reference to a value that is infinity or otherwise undefined in a system. Again? Cool. Thanks. I'll take it. So, ooh, I think I'll take black lipstick, I guess. So in differential equations, for example, a singularity simply represents the fact that some or all of the values, I mean, this is more PDEs than ODEs, but still. Cool. Some or all of the values are, again, infinite or undefined. So, in the context of general relativity, a singularity typically just means that space-time is experiencing infinite curvature. That is, the curvature of space-time keeps going up and up and up, and it, you know, there's a point in three-dimensional space that you could sort of plot on a graph as being infinite. It goes, like, if you... It's a little weird to think about because of 2D and 3D overlapping, kind of, but let's... Oh. Okay, they guys it is. Wait a minute. Yes, 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 yes. No! Oh, I kicked him off course. Oh well. Ooh, nice. Hey, wait a minute. I didn't expect you to pull back towards me. Okay. Get him, little portal. Get him again. You are big now. Yay! Which means you do more damage. No, I didn't actually want to summon you like that. but I will take the free chest. Not a bad chest. Cool, and then, I mean, I could eat the chests with a little portal, maybe, but I won't risk it. Whip, 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 whip. Anyway, if you imagine space-time as just a two-dimensional plane, but then view the curvature of space-time as the third axis, I know it's a little strange sounding. It's a little strange sounding. Wow. Okay. But if you follow along with that, so basically, what this means, realistically, if you interpret it physically, is that when near a massive body, such as a planet, a star, or a black hole, space-time will curve upwards quite a bit. Oh, he's gone, isn't he? Yeah, he is. My buddy, my pal, my little portal. He's back. Give me something good. That was a lot of money, which I will accept. Graciously. I will graciously accept this money, and I will thank the Academy. Anyway, so the closer you get to a massive body, the higher space-time curves, or the more extremely it curves. And a singularity would be some point or region even where the curvature becomes infinite. It just, you know, if you think about asymptotes in basic Algebra 2 math functions, it reaches an asymptote. It just goes up and up and up, and then you hit a point where it is literally infinite. Now, singularities. Again, these are... I'm bringing this up and going into so much depth because it does come up in a few of the other things we're going to talk about today. Oh, I want it. But that's, again, really all it is just this asymptote where space-time infinitely curves, and there is some debate over whether or not... Oh, I kind of want that. Whether or not singularities should ever exist physically. The thing is, Einstein's equations allow for singularities, but the question is, does nature allow for singularities? And that is not known. I have to cough. Just a reminder to myself, let me say this out loud, that when I mute, it does actually not show up in the final recording. I just need to remind myself of that. But my code for picking up my mic audio does still detect it, and I've gone the wrong way again. Every time. With how fast I'm going, I might be able to swing Boss Rush, though, but I may not be able to swing Hush as well. I want it, but you aren't really... I don't have enough... I have one heart I can sacrifice. And I will keep that sacrifice because that is a damage up, and this way I benefit from all blue heart effects. Not that there are that many, but ooh. Interesting. I'm scared of you. But I'll keep you. I have a few rooms that I could milk for more charges if need be. Get them. Nice. Oh, a free cube. I will take the free cube, I think. Unless this is a bandage, ball of bandages. I hope it's a cube. Smacka, 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 smacka. Smacka, smacka, smacka. Indeed, it is a cube. I will take it. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna accept you, and then I'll re-roll you because I haven't guaranteed Angel Room every floor, so, you know, why not? One free Angel Room item, not too bad. Not too shabby. There we are, and... I'm gonna re-roll that. I know that I might not be able to re-roll that. It might vanish into the void, simply because of the nature of the eternal D6 here, but I apologize to anyone who is unfortunately Australian. Please give me a charge. I want to re-roll it. But at this rate, I don't think... Oh, wow. Okay, there's a lot left in this floor. Is there perhaps anything very nice around here? Like a library? Why is this so big? What's going on? Whoa, and that was close. Oh, okay, it's a dead end. I got worked up over nothing. Cool. Yeah, I'm not making boss rush. That's okay. Hush matters more today, because I have fewer opportunities to reach Hush. Not bad, not bad. I'll accept this. And if I can get you close... Is that close enough? It indeed is! Oh, and strength is wonderful. Actually, I wonder if I can make use of that. I only need 2 more for a full meat boy. Yeah, well, I mean, I'll get 2 more next floor, but... Food for thought, thought for food. First things first. Let's go re-roll you and hope for something good. The wafer is amazing! Oh, that was totally worth it. This was a good venture. And now, I will hold off on using it until next floor when I get both. It may as well, you know, doesn't matter. And there we have it. Get him, meat boy, my meat child. As your meat parent, I command you, get him. That would be nice. It would also be really nice if I actually swallowed for once. Don't take that out of context. Anyway, singularities. Again, there is ongoing debate over whether or not nature would ever even allow a singularity. But if singularities do exist, again, these are regions where the curvature of space-time is infinite, or some other physical properties may be infinite. Nice. Wafer already coming in clutch. Then the first singularity ever computed is a black hole. This is from the Schwarzschild. It's, what's the term? Solution. The Schwarzschild solution to general relativity, which I will very briefly introduce to you now. Let me first of all say, if you are not too familiar with general relativity, I had a feeling. Yay! Nice. If you are not... I said general relativity, didn't I? You know, I'll take my reflection. Wait, luck down? Oh. I mean, it makes sense. Oh. So if you're not too familiar with differential equations... And let me do this because I am concerned. Nice. Then, in order to properly explain this, it would really help to give some maybe different vocabulary here. So, in the field of differential equations and partial differential equations and all that, you have these functions that define properties of other functions. That's basically what's going on, and when you come up with a parent function that fits those properties, you call it a solution. So the Schwarzschild solution to general relativity is not an indication that general relativity was somehow wrong or a problem that needed solving. A more accurate way of describing this to, say, a layperson. Sorry for just calling you a layperson like that, but I hope you understand. Is rather than a Schwarzschild solution to general relativity, this is instead maybe a Schwarzschild application of general relativity. So what is the Schwarzschild application, then, of general relativity? Step on me already. Come on. I'm burning daylight here. Also, I am very close to being able to get boss rush. Nice. And I'm not opposed to it either. Yeah, let's go for damage. That's nice. I wish it mattered more, but okay. Will this be another run where I manage to get both boss rush and hush done at once? Ooh. 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 I could have so many meat children with the empty heart. This is very tempting, but I don't beat bosses fast enough. I wouldn't be able to make hush. But Lilith isn't exactly a fast character either, so I think I will engage in boss rush here. The question is, I'm still thinking. I'm sorry for pausing so much and unpausing. Do I go for more meat? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more floors, right? So that would be an okay amount of meat in total, but I think I would prefer the damage. Plain and simple. Yeah. Excuse me, that one I didn't make it. Didn't make it to the mute button. Get him, meat boy. Actually, in fact, let me use strength here. This is as good of an application as any, right? Especially if this helps me also reach hush. Good, good, good. Got him out of the way. That way I can focus on Monstro 2, who is a much more annoying boss. Anyway, so what is the Schwarzschild solution to Einstein's theory of general relativity? Again, I think a better description is the Schwarzschild application then, or the Schwarzschild solution, calling it the Schwarzschild application. Basically, it's one of the simplest cases possible to apply general relativity to. It is a black hole, basically, or rather a very large spherical object that is extremely massive. Uh-oh, I don't like this. Oh, good, good. I like it a lot more now. Did my meat save me, or did I just get lucky with that shot? I honestly can't tell. Get him, get him, get him, get him. Now, there are a number of variations on the Schwarzschild solution, because, namely, the Schwarzschild solution, or Schwarzschild application as I'm calling it, is only for a non-rotating object that also doesn't have any charge, which is why later on we get the care solution, or care application as I'm referring to it, of general relativity, which is a rotating spherical object. And basically the point of these is just to analyze how general relativity reacts in the space around this object. And so, by analyzing the physics of the Schwarzschild and Kerr solutions to general relativity, you get models for black holes. Whoa, whoa! Well, gross. Let's use you here, I guess. I don't know. Ooh, not bad. I'll use that too. Why not? Oh, a second one? Impressive. Very impressive, wow. And anything else that I should know about? I don't think so. Cool. And I'm not bad on time. Oh, I should have... it's fine. More meat. So when analyzing black holes, or rather, this is the theory that gave rise to black holes in the first place, but when looking at, you know, an extremely massive spherical object and how general relativity says that the fabric of spacetime should behave around it, this is how we get our modern understanding of black holes. This is how we understand things like the event horizon, which is where, you know, not even light is able to escape from the black hole's gravity anymore, which is what makes it a black hole in the first place. And the original Schwarzschild black hole has a singularity within the entire region of the event horizon. That is a singularity. You could even say that black holes altogether are a type of singularity, at least from this Schwarzschild perspective, if you will. But there's something very important to note about it, and that's that singularity within the event horizon, within that entire spherical region, actually goes away if you change the coordinate system. Yes, if you change the coordinate system, I forget the exact name of the coordinate system that you can change it to. Basically, for a simple analog, just imagine swapping from, you know, cylindrical coordinates to, or Cartesian coordinates to cylindrical coordinates, basically. Also, that was pretty fast. Pretty fast getting to this boss. Now, will I be able to get to the next one in equally quick time? I would certainly like to. Let's go to the big room. Ah! Good, good. Get him, meat boy. Get him. Get them. Uh-oh. Nice. Yeah, I have the keys for this. Ooh, and that too. Well, okay. Bomb. Cool, cool. I have the key for that too. And cool, great. Oh, rock, rock. Oh, you never give me a rock. That's not true. You give me a rock pretty generously, but I'm still upset. Actually, that would put my speed down even lower, which I'm not thrilled about. Ugh! Yeah, I'm a gamer. Anyway, if you change the coordinate system, think swapping from Cartesian to cylindrical, the singularity that occurs beyond the event horizon of a black hole in the Schwarzschild solution actually goes away completely. And instead, we get something... Oh! This is amazing timing. We actually get something extremely interesting. And this, by the way, is where wormholes come from. also called Einstein-Rosen bridges. Because as it turns out, if you take the Schwarzschild representation of a black hole, and again you... Thanks. Okay. I'm gonna keep my potato peeler. If you take this representation of a black hole and swap the coordinate system out for another, then what you see... Oh, not Curse of the Blind. Ow. Man. Soul of Isaac. Well, I wish I could use that. Magic Fingers is not bad, actually. Oh, that's not good. No items over here. Another strength. Okay, that's really good. And then top or bottom, I'll pick top. Uh-oh. At least it's away from me. I'll pick top again. No, I won't. Never mind. Wait. Soul of Isaac. If I pick it up first...
Soul of Isaac.
Really? Oh. Man, I should have used it in here. What are you? The tower, gross. And I'll donate the last of my money, even though I have pay to win. Why not? Why not? I'll be a good Samaritan. So again, if you change the coordinate system to remove the singularity that is the black hole, then what you get is something extremely fascinating, where basically the black hole, the interior of the black hole, according to the theory, as it's revealed by only changing the coordinate systems, based on, again, Einstein's field theory, or field equations, what happens is you see that the region inside the black hole actually connects to some sort of plane. Like, if our universe is one asymptotically flat plane, then inside the black hole is able to connect to some other plane. Or not necessarily different plane, but not exactly the same plane either. I'll go over some possible explanations and cases in a minute. But basically, what this shows is that a black hole, in theory at least, is connected via a tiny, tiny little space-time bridge that dies out instantaneously after forming, but it forms every single moment in time, I think, if I'm understanding the theory correctly. So it's constantly forming and reforming almost instantaneously these tiny, tiny little bridges in space-time between one black hole and a paired white hole. And a white hole is, again, unproven theory, but it is simply a black hole in reverse that theoretically exists somewhere. Who knows where? Bit hard to say. So again, just by changing the coordinate system, what you see is that black holes, in theory, connect to white holes. Although, again, because the connection is only instantaneous before closing itself, you can't actually pass any matter through it, or even light. Maybe, probably. And also, we have never seen a white hole, and the existence of a white hole would also violate, laws of thermodynamics and all of that, too. So, again, highly theoretical stuff, but whatever. Let's use the tower. Why not? Get him, meat boy. No, not in my face. Nice. And just like that, Soul of Lilith. Nice. This is great. So again, these wormholes or Einstein-Rosen bridges are not traversable. Not really. But it's a very, very fascinating aspect of the theory of general relativity that is directly implied by the equations once you change the coordinate system. Cool! Well, you will tell me where they are. Oh, they're all dead. Okay. Nice. Now, a few possibilities here. It's not necessarily the case. Ooh, yeah, I'll take that. it's not necessarily the case that these white holes exist in our universe. It's not necessarily the case that these white holes exist in another universe. There are a few possibilities to work through here. One theory is that each black hole connects to a white hole located basically in a different universe, so there's sort of a multiverse thing going on. It's just like the MCU! That's one theory. Another theory is that white holes actually exist in our universe. We've just, for whatever reason, never observed them. Oh, that is great. And so, then, a black hole in our universe would also link to a white hole, again, in our same universe. That, again, those two separate planes that show up in Einstein-Rosen bridges aren't actually distinct universes. They could just be two different parts of the same universe, theoretically. Or perhaps the most interesting theory, at least to me... Whoa! Sure. The most interesting theory is that every black hole contains a universe inside of it, and within every universe, this is, I mean, I'm actually kind of merging two different theories a little bit here, but they're related enough that I feel confident in doing this, that within every universe there exists one and only one white hole that basically is paired with the black hole that exists in the parent universe, if that makes sense. So if our universe is contained within a black hole in some greater universe, then somewhere in our universe might be a white hole that is paired with the outer universe's black hole that contains us. Weird theory, but it's pretty neat. Well, okay. I take you. A little closer to conjoined. Conjoined would be nice. Conjoined is always nice for Tainted Lilith. But, again, that's a very, completely unproven theory, but very fascinating nonetheless. I find it very, very interesting. Okay. I can work with that. That's not too bad for me. Let's see. Oh, one final note about the Einstein-Rosen bridges is that theoretically you could actually open them or widen them in order to allow matter to pass through it. However, this requires what is called exotic matter, that is, matter with negative energy density. Now, if you aren't a physics savant, you may have a moment here where you're like, negative energy, that's really easy. Just get some electrons. But no. Negative energy density. In other words, positive or negatively charged, you still have a positive amount of energy contained if you look at it through the lens of E equals mc squared, because everything with mass has potential energy, right? So that's what's going on here. And even antimatter wouldn't suffice here either, because antimatter is just normal matter but with reversed charges. Reversed electromagnetic charges, that's all. Reversed energy density would basically mean that you need negative mass itself, in essence. And that is what makes it truly exotic matter. I'll use this. And that's why I kept my 2 of diamonds. Oh, that almost hurt. And I will still keep my 2 of diamonds. For the moment. Oh, and there we have it. 99. No, thank you. I hate that room. Black rune. That's great. Okay, okay. Come on. Let me hit you. Thank you. Uh-oh. Ow. I'm just here to farm items. I only have a luck of +1, but, you know, I've gotten a few so far. Somehow. I will come back for that. I suspect the boss is near here. I'll use the tower here. Why not? Get him. Good enough. Oh, the Magician. Nice. Nice. Okay, what are you doing? You're doing that. That's fine, that's fine. I am so sorry, little Brimstone. You're just here along for the ride, really. Okay, okay, buddy. Okay, okay, bud. Get him, meat boy. Ow, of course. That's okay, I have lots of health right now. No. One of these days I'm gonna accidentally hit yes, and I'm gonna beat myself up for it. But not today. And I still have a black rune. And a few more rooms to explore. So, let's see. White holes are, of course, another thing that I mentioned already. Theoretical opposites of black holes, regions where matter and energy can emerge, but nothing can enter. It's basically the time-reversed solution to the Schwarzschild solution, or Schwarzschild application, as I've called it, of general relativity, and Unproven. And I'm just going through my list here. Ooh. I'll take you. Yeah. Okay, one more thing that involves exotic matter is the Alcubierre drive. So let me get nerdy for a second. So the Alcubierre drive was first proposed in 1994 by, I believe it was Miguel Alcubierre. That's his name. As basically a real-life version of the faster-than-light method of warp drive that exists in Star Trek. This was Alcubierre's attempt at a real-life version of warp drive. Now, if you don't know anything about Star Trek, then let me briefly explain warp drive. Warp drive is the faster-than-light travel in the Star Trek franchise, and it is defined as somehow, again, it's sci-fi, there's a fiction aspect to this, somehow you have an engine that is able to sever off a bubble of space-time, and then accelerate that bubble of space-time that carries a starship beyond faster-than-light speeds, because you're not actually moving matter faster than the speed of light. You're instead moving space-time itself faster than the speed of light, which might be possible, or might not be. Hard to say. That's how warp drive works. Now, the Alcubierre drive was inspired by that. Yeah, diagonal punch. I forgot I could do that, because I have the joystick. The Alcubierre drive, rather than severing a bubble of space-time, which is, you know, kind of impossible, and also leaves a bunch of questions like what happens to the space-time that was there previously, and what happens to the region that you exit out of warp into. The Alcubierre drive simply accumulates a wave of high-density space-time in front of a spacecraft, and then a wave of expanding low-density space-time behind the spacecraft. One of those is possible. The other one requires exotic matter to do. And both are unfortunately needed in order for faster-than-light travel to truly be achieved. I looked into it a little bit. So, if we had a massive amount of energy, or mass, condensed into a small region in front of the ship that was able to compress space-time, if my understanding of the Alcubierre drive and general relativity is correct, this would allow you to be propelled... This would... sorry. This would create a wave of space-time, but it wouldn't propel the ship forward in it. It would also not be able to propel itself at all. I will not be taking that. You need exotic matter, again, matter with negative energy density, in order to create the expanding space-time in the back. And that backward expanding space-time is very necessary in order to actually propel the ship, and indeed the entire bubble, if you want to call it a bubble, of space-time, forwards. So, yeah. Unfortunately, exotic matter is still needed, but it is pretty cool to see that there is a sort of real-life analog to Star Trek's warp drive. I'll take that, why not? Whoa, whoa! Who are you? The devil! Ooh, wait, the devil is even better than strength, kind of, for me, sort of. Because I have the whatchamacallit. Oh, I'm already at 99 coins. What am I doing? I believe, one final note on the Alcubierre drive, the original calculation for how much energy would actually be required in order to create it was originally something like enough energy to rival the mass of Jupiter. So, not very feasible. But later revisions have reduced the amount of energy theoretically needed in order to achieve this. Yeah. That could very well be delirium. I'm not going in there just yet. Even though, maybe I should. I don't know. The more modern recomputation of the Alcubierre drive has shown, instead of the mass of something comparable to the mass of Jupiter, now something closer to just the mass of the Earth is needed in order to, like, the mass of the Earth compressed down to basically a point is needed to achieve the energy needs of this, of compressing space-time enough. So, yeah, not very hopeful for real faster-than-light travel anytime soon, unfortunately. Still back to the drawing board on that one. But let's get to some other... some other fun consequences of general relativity. Let's see, next... Yeah, I'll talk about this one next. Closed time-like curves, or CTCs. This is theoretically the real way to time travel. Sort of. A CTC, or closed time-like curve. Oh. Yeah, I'll take umbilical cord. Oh, okay, cool. Is a world line in space-time that loops back on itself, theoretically allowing an object to return to its own past. Certain solutions to Einstein's equations, like the Gödel metric and Tipler cylinders emit closed time-like curves. So if I recall correctly, the Tipler cylinder is basically saying if you have a cylinder of infinite length, nice and easy to, to acquire, or you can use store-bought. Store-bought is fine. No, actually, store-bought is not fine in this example. If you have a cylinder of infinite length that is rotating, then space-time with... What? Oh. I thought for sure. I miscalculated, I guess. Yeah, I'll use that. Then space-time within this cylinder will actually flow in reverse time. It will flow backwards relative to the rest of the universe. And again, that's kind of a problem because it needs to be infinite length, a cylinder of infinite length. It cannot be anything less than infinite length. I can't tell if it's my speed that's really screwing me over here or what. Ooh. But also, Delirium seems very aggressive right now. I don't know why. Get him. Nice. Where are you? There you are. Ugh. Stop that. I should win because of my health, mainly, but that's a shame. I don't like talking while on my ending screen so much. I prefer to be playing the game while talking, but whatever. I don't have that many more points to go through, but I find them all fascinating, nonetheless. So again, there are some possible ways of violating causality, however, they typically involve some infinities, and although infinities might be fine in theory, the universe doesn't seem to like infinities. Although again, singularities may be possible, they might be real. More on that now. And somehow I won, just like that, huh? Okay. So let's talk about naked singularities. And just double checking, yep, that's all good. Jello. Yay! So, there's this theory that's relatively popular, despite how it sounds. The name of the theory sounds like a crackpot theory, but the theory is called the cosmic censorship theory, and it's relatively popular. This theory states that singularities do exist, again, these regions of space-time where you have infinite curvature, which doesn't seem like nature would allow, but whatever, Einstein's equations say that they might exist. So the cosmic censorship hypothesis says singularities do exist, but they only exist inside of black holes. They are effectively, coincidentally, censored from the rest of the universe. Even I've heard an interpretation that these singularities are actually contained within a black hole, like it's some sort of container, which is wild, and the reason why it sounds crackpot is because it suggests some amount of, intention or manipulation or whatever, but this might just be the way the universe works. So, a naked singularity would then be a singularity that is not hidden behind an event horizon, which makes it potentially observable. Solutions like the Kerr metric for rotating black holes allow for a naked singularity if the spin exceeds a certain limit. So if you have a black hole spinning fast enough, you might be able to see its singularity, assuming it has one, outside of its event horizon. Again, highly theoretical. And most physicists seem to believe in the cosmic censorship hypothesis. That is, again, that singularities, if they do exist, are always shielded or hidden inside black holes or something like that. But again, all this is mathematically valid, which is fascinating. Let's see. Next, I'll talk about, I guess, Okay, I'll talk about the care solution next. So, like the Schwarzschild solution, which is again Schwarzschild application of general relativity, which shows how general relativity acts around a black hole or other large, massive spherical object. The care solution is the same thing, but it's rotating. That's all. That's the only difference, but with rotation comes some very interesting effects, such as frame dragging. I mentioned this last time I talked about physics. Frame dragging, I understand it better now, is when a rotating black hole is massive enough and rotates enough that actually space-time within a region around the black hole is also rotating with the black hole. Which means any object that enters that region that is outside the event horizon, but inside what is called the ergosphere of the black hole, which is this area of space-time that's rotating along with the black hole, cannot remain stationary with respect to distant objects. In other words, if you enter this ergosphere and stop yourself completely relative to the black hole, because the space-time you're in is moving, you will be observed rotating around the black hole relative to everything else, even if from your perspective you aren't. It sounds more complicated than it is. If you just imagine it, if you visualize it, I think it makes more sense. So that's frame dragging, and frame dragging has been confirmed to exist, at least to a limited extent. But frame dragging at extremes, otherwise called extreme care effects, is when you have a rapidly spinning black hole that yields some very interesting physical properties. Again, we've only observed a mild version of this, but in extreme cases, if I'm understanding this correctly, you have something like the Penrose process. It might not need to be an extreme care effect to use the Penrose process, but I assume the more exaggerated the frame dragging, the easier it is to use the Penrose process. So what is the Penrose process? Basically, it's a theoretical method of sucking energy out of a black hole, kind of, indirectly, super indirectly. Basically, shoot a particle into the ergosphere of a black hole, and it splits inside this ergosphere. As it splits into two, one particle exits the ergosphere, goes out of it, the other particle falls into the event horizon of the black hole. All this is fairly straightforward so far. The very interesting thing about the ergosphere as a property of this ergosphere, the particle that shoots out of the ergosphere, according to the calculations, actually contains more energy in it than the initial particle shot into it. You leach energy out of the ergosphere and out of the whole black hole system, as I understand it, by shooting these charged, or not necessarily charged, but shooting these particles into the ergosphere. So imagine, like, if you shoot a plasma beam, it can't be light, but shoot a plasma beam into the ergosphere of a black hole, and then you get some wave, this higher energy wave of plasma that shoots back at you, basically. That is a simplification and a bit of a sci-fi perfection to how the whole scenario would work in theory. It'd probably be a lot messier to try and actually use this, but that is the gist of the theory. And again, that is called the Penrose process. Now, the last thing I want to mention is the very controversial theory of black hole firewalls. So basically, general relativity and quantum mechanics do not mix at all. There are theories that try and reconcile them, and that this all comes down to various theories of quantum gravity, as it's called, but they're still just theories. They're not proven. The reason why they don't mix is that in quantum mechanics, everything is quantized. at the smallest levels of the universe, everything is integer values. There are no decimal points. You cannot subdivide properties infinitely, which is really bizarre from our perspective. from the perspective of a normal person, I guess. But general relativity suggests that space and time, and therefore also gravity, are continuous. They are infinitely divisible, which does not mesh at all well with quantum mechanics. So how exactly does gravity apply at a quantum level if everything on the quantum level has to be an integer value? It's not clear. And again, there are a lot of theories out there for quantum gravity. Maybe I'll do a second episode on quantum gravity theories specifically. But black holes pose an interesting problem. Several interesting problems with quantum mechanics, actually. So the event horizon of a black hole may violate some fundamental principles of quantum mechanics. Namely, the what's it called? Unitarity. That's it. May violate unitarity. So unitarity in quantum mechanics says that if you have perfect knowledge of physics and infinite computational potential, which, those are a bit of an assumption, but just assume that you do, then given a state of a system, you're able to calculate exactly its previous states, its past, as well as its future states. So if you know a full system, you can uniquely compute its past and its future exactly. However, black holes seem to violate this, specifically through Hawking radiation. I'm getting super physicsy. I wish I had not encountered delirium so early, but whatever. I hope you enjoy anyway. And this will be a few more minutes too, just to warn you. So, because of unitarity, information at the quantum level must never be created and must never be destroyed, because the act of creating or destroying information at the quantum level means you can no longer perfectly predict the future or perfectly recreate the past. So, again, creating or destroying new information is strictly forbidden in quantum mechanics, at least in principle. I suppose that's never been proven, but it seems to be true with everything that we've tested. Everything that we know about quantum mechanics says that is true. Except black holes do this thing where they eat matter, a lot of it. And as it turns out, which this is what Stephen Hawking discovered, and what I think he's most famous for, is Hawking radiation. Stephen Hawking discovered that black holes, all of them, actually emit a small amount of thermal radiation. Now, maybe that doesn't sound like a problem at first, until you know the additional fact that this radiation, as far as anyone can tell, is random, is uncorrelated to what the black hole has been eating. In other words, although the energy, the total energy of the system may be the same, in other words, black holes aren't a hack per se, black holes can, in theory, evaporate. If they don't eat anything for, billions and trillions and quadrillions of years, then they'll slowly shrink, emitting this thermal radiation, and no one has any idea what will be left when it's done, but it theoretically evaporates like that. However, quantum information goes into a black hole and is somehow destroyed, because the information that comes out of the black hole, although the total energy is preserved, although energy is still conserved, which is a fundamental law of physics, the information that was eaten does not appear to come out of the black hole at all. That is a major point of contention between general relativity and quantum mechanics. There are a few theories that try to explain this, such as the suggestion that maybe an evaporated black hole will leave behind some information somehow, in the dregs of the black hole after it's completely evaporated, or that maybe there are very subtle correlations in the thermal radiation that's emitted, or something else. One such theory is the very controversial theory of black hole firewalls, because this violates a few different principles. But the idea is that at the event horizon, somehow, because of the extreme compression of space-time, where, this is theoretically under the original Schwarzschild model, where the singularity of a black hole starts, is the event horizon, that once you cross over to the event horizon, gravity itself deletes quantum information. It acts as what is called a black hole firewall. Again, this is theoretical and highly controversial, because this firewall violates two things. First of all, it violates unitarity, because you're saying that it's deleting information. This is just the proposed method of how it's deleting information. But also, this violates general relativity, which says that the event horizon of a black hole shouldn't actually be any special region. You, as the observer, if you pass through it, I mean, you die long before you reach it, in a, very literal sense of falling into a black hole. But if you could reach the event horizon, light can no longer escape, but you will still be in free fall, falling towards the center of the black hole, just as you were before you crossed the event horizon. So there should be nothing special that deletes your information, which is why today's sponsor is no. But anyway, that's black hole firewalls and the controversy over them. I think all this is fascinating. There are a few more general relativity-esque theories I'd like to talk about someday. Maybe tomorrow, maybe not. I don't know. I'll see what I'm feeling. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I was able to present this information in a way that makes sense to people. Whether you are someone who knows nothing about general relativity, or whether you know a decent amount already. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. I hope you thought about some things. I certainly have a few pet theories about how black holes might actually work, because, as a gentle reminder here, we've technically never proven their existence. Instead of Sagittarius A at the center of the Milky Way, maybe there's just a dude in there who has the mass of, a quadrillion suns. He's just sitting in the middle, and he's so tiny relative to the rest of the galaxy that we've just yet to see him. That is possible, if you really think about it. We haven't proven that a black hole, it even exists. We've only ever looked at indirect evidence, and although we do have that one image of a black hole, there has been some critiques of how it was derived, basically, but it still reasonably makes sense as far as imagery of a black hole goes. Anyway, I'm actually ending now. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.